So I live in such an amazing place. Beautiful, huge forest. And I know this land very well and have lots of plans for how to share it. Where to build, what trees to grow where. I think my vision is pretty amazing. And there's certain kinds of people who would love it, and there's others who would not. One of the problems I have, as I think about hosting people here again, is I have had trouble saying no to people. When I first started hosting, I said yes to everyone, and I stopped doing that. I hosted lots of people for free as volunteers, which rarely works out because a lot of them aren't motivated to actually help. They just want to live for free. And that doesn't work for me for very long. So, and I don't like saying no to people. So I think what I'm going to do is outsource that. I will tell a different agency what values matter to me. And I've been talking with some folks who do that. And then they will just forward me the people who fit the criteria that I think will make this place function. Because almost every effort at community falls apart really quickly because people lie a lot. It's mean to say that, but it's also mean of them to lie. They lie about their motivations and everything like that. And I guess the factors, I don't know if I should say what factors I would want to consider, but they shouldn't be anonymous. I mean, I used to just say yes to everybody, and most of those people were awesome, but they were still a net loss. I mean, if there is no income, then a place cannot function. And I'm no longer in a position to host people for free. And the place is falling apart. It's dirty. There's animals living in houses. Trails are grown over. My solar power system's out. And that shit's really easy to fix. It's not even very expensive for what you get. And also I want to define here a particular lifestyle that I want to live, and that in some ways is hard to live unless we have a group of people who all want to live that lifestyle. For example, eating healthily. I think that's a big one. I mean, there's certain things that are deal breakers, right? Like if somebody doesn't have an emotional self-control. Some people don't. It amazes me that they're like that, and they probably don't know how shitty their lives are, because the only people who will tolerate them are probably like that too. And they yell at each other, threaten each other. They don't care. And the other problem I've had is that I've mainly hosted short-term people, and that's been fun. And certainly short-term you can tolerate just about anybody, if you have no longer-term investment. But there's also a real limit to the benefit you can get out of that relationship if you've just got people coming and going all the time, and they're here for 2 weeks. Even a month is not really much. On the other hand, I can't really agree. This has been a problem a couple times. I can't really agree that someone can stay here for a longer period of time and kind of promise that, because then when it doesn't work out, they get really upset if you tell them that they can't do that. And I think, there's a lot of, if you haven't experienced this, then it might be hard for you to relate to it. But there's a lot of problems that will occur in any community setting. And I think a lot of those can be solved up front. For example, people have to have enough money to leave. And in fact, they should have money in general. I don't want to collect a bunch of people who don't have any fucking resources, because then I end up babysitting them. And they think they've found their magic heaven where daddy takes care of them. And it's like, I'm not going to go for that. So I want to recruit people who are able to work online, or they're independently wealthy, perhaps retired, or they come from generational wealth, which is not quite as attractive since they didn't earn it themselves, but who cares, I gotta not be a bigot about that kind of stuff too. I mean, I am kind of judgmental about rich people because they're some of the stingiest fucks in the world. It's so annoying. Spiritual people is another one where it's like, for me, that's a deal breaker. And I have to wonder about how that exactly plays out. But it's because of my own background and the abuse I've seen, and just the ridiculous made-up bullshit of spirituality. I'm very suspicious of it. On the other hand, a very good friend of mine, I would have her come here to live. And she believes in God in some sense. She's a Christian. And I've known her a long time. And she's not really closed-minded, judgmental, or controlling. She's a leader socially. She's a kind person. And she doesn't judge me, even though I'm like a total atheist who doesn't believe in any spiritual world whatsoever. But I don't judge her for what she believes, because it really doesn't affect me. She's never said a single word to me, and I've known her for many years. I haven't seen her, obviously, because I live out in the woods now, but we chat online occasionally, and she's just a lovely person. And, and it's not a romantic connection. So many times people, if you're friends with a woman, then they assume that everything is sexual about it, or it has to be somehow sexual. It's like, no, it is not. That's just absolutely ludicrous. And I recognize that there's some people that can only see a person for their gender, and that's a really big deal to them. And for me, it really doesn't matter at all, except in the cases where I am actually attracted to them and would like some intimacy, which I would like again someday in my life. Although I will probably never be in a monogamous relationship again. The truth is, I tend towards monogamy just because if my needs are getting met, then my interest in other people goes down. And I'm fairly, I don't like to use the word conservative because it means other stuff too, but I'm relatively conservative about like who I want to be intimate with. God, look at the size of that hole. I gotta get this whole road fixed right here. This is a super fucked up road. I did just come through here with two other guys in their vehicles, and they didn't seem to mind it, but they're tougher than normal people. A normal car would not come on this road right here. Luckily, I have a different road way over there. So, we're talking about people and hosting people again. So that means I'm going to have to set a price for someone to come. And I really don't like that either. This is why I've been kind of stuck. I don't want to charge people to come here because it sets up a strange dynamic as well, where they want to then be served, right? I'm then in the hospitality industry. Now, of course, the thing I don't like about hospitality industry is the short-termness of it. So a longer-term thing would be cool. And I can set up systems in place to make it easy to live here. Have supply chain figured out. Have food, like a variety of small restaurants that provide super healthy food. These are the kind of values I care about. And I'll be very upfront about it so that anybody who wants to live here is agreeing to a certain social contract. And there could still be short-term events, right? There could be workshops or gatherings of various kinds. I can, rattle off a whole bunch of ideas for those. That would be pretty fun. But I don't think I want that to be the focus. And I think it should be very, very difficult to join. In fact, I don't even want to say, you're coming to join the community and this is a trial period. I would rather they come to an event here. And that event will probably be about intentional communities and cultural design. And it will explain like how you can do that in your life. And in that process, it will become clear whether we have compatible views that might work for being here. So there isn't this illusion like, oh, you've accepted me to come live there, and now I'm going to live there forever, and you'll never get rid of me. And it's like, well, there's at least some percentage of people you don't want around very long. I've had to kick people out, not very often. I think I've kicked out less than 10 out of over 3,000 people. So it's not like it's a big problem in the number of people, but it's extremely uncomfortable. And I've had to pay people to leave because they say, oh, I don't have any money. And it's just like, fuck you to hell. So then I think, well, do I need to collect enough money from them in the beginning so that I can send them away with something, and also just never accept people who don't have any resources? They're a threat. And you might say, well, that's terrible, you capitalist pig. How dare you care if people have money or not? We should just live off of food that falls off the trees in the forest. Everything should be free. No, it fucking should not. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch. And some people are very charming, attractive, and they live off of other people. And that does not fucking work. I'm sick of it. It causes an imbalance. It causes struggle and pain and potentially oppression. It's not going to work. So even immigration, if you aren't already from this country, there are financial requirements to live in this country. And so people have to prove that they have enough resources. There's some other ways around that. But, and it's interesting because if the system is big enough, then there'll be people needed to do jobs within the community, but then they should be getting paid. And so the system has to have enough money for that. I mean, we could make a list of every business type that exists and see which businesses we can support here. Also, I have this strange idea of people creating businesses here primarily for clients elsewhere. Some people think, oh, let's make products and we'll sell them locally. And it's like, it's not the best place to do that. This is not a very wealthy place. And we could make higher end products to sell to richer people over there in the city over there. But it's not really what I want to do. Like, I don't want to be making jams and chutneys and, I mean, except for us, you know. And I mean, I can imagine some things that would work like that. Like, there's bees up here, okay? There's a bunch of beehives, and we could have more beehives and then sell the honey. We could even ferment the honey and make mead, which is the best drink in the world, by the way. We would have to get a special license to sell it and pay taxes on it and stuff. I don't know. That could be investigated. There's options, right? I would rather make a brand deal with a local distillery that's over there and have our own brand that we promote. They already have the license. They already have the distribution. They know how to package it. And we would have cooler labels. Their labels are really sucky on their products. They're boring. And that should be like really a high priority thing to do because, my God, they could sell a bunch more. I know how to reproduce the plants needed for fermenting. I almost bought a still the other day so I could do this on a small scale here, and that would just be for our consumption. That's perfectly legal where I live, and we wouldn't sell that because I don't have licensing for that, and I don't feel like getting into that. But there are a lot of other business ideas we could do. In fact, I want to explore this strange idea. About to run out of battery. I'll mention it as fast as I can. God, I gotta walk down this slippery trail again. Fuck this trail. I fell down on it like 3 months ago, and my back is finally better because I fell right onto a rock right on my spine, which is just like, so frustrating, you know? Like, I don't need any medical problems right now. And it hurt for a long time. I don't know, I mean, a normal person would have gone to the hospital and got it x-rayed, but I'm pretty sure I cracked some kind of vertebrae or something weird because it fucking hurt. Luckily, I had some pain pills left over from surgery a long time ago. What I want to talk to you about, I'm going to switch batteries to do it, is shared ownership over businesses. And the two kinds of businesses that would be awesome, one is filmmaking, and the other one is software development. And I know a lot about software development. I don't know a lot about filmmaking, but I think I got the idea. And I don't want to have investors. I want it to be owned by the people who make it. Like communally owned, and people own shares in it. And that motivates them. It will change the entire nature of the project, the team, you know, because I've managed teams of software developers before, software testers actually, which is not the same as a developer at all, but there's some crossover. And I think it could be done. Well, I'm going to start a new video for that.